The Dodgers were the first team to 60 wins. The Padres were on an 8-game slide before eking out a 500 record in the half. The CBA is getting heated, and more from the first half of the season with a Dodgers fan and a Padres fan. Jordan, how are you?
Good. Did you see, before we get into all that, did you see the ending of last night's Dodgers-Phillies game?
No, why would I have been watching that game?
I don't know, but it was probably one of the most brutal double plays you'll ever see, and also, I think, definitive proof that Joe Davis is not the homer you say he is, so...
I've seen enough proof in my mind to say that he is for sure a home guy, so show
Why
me.
don't you watch the Dodgers broadcast and then the Phillies broadcast, and then tell me what you think. First, here's the Dodgers one.
Shot off to third, and it got him hung up. Crawford's hung up. Crawford is out. Throw to second. That is the game. That is the ball game. What a way to finish it. Chaos on the bases and a 2-1 Dodger win.
That was rough. Feel bad for the Phillies.
Phillies are going on contact. But after contact in the rundown,
Objective analysis, though.
I mean, did you hear how he was screaming?
At least have a shot with 2 outs.
Just wait till you see the Phillies version.
Because you could be at first and third.
That's what should have happened.
Yeah, but there was quite a bit of screaming from Joe Davis there in the middle of the play, which is my concern with Joe Davis is never his analysis in the moment. It's the pure raw emotion. And also, I don't care what Joe Davis does on his home broadcast. My issue with Joe Davis is when he gets on national broadcasts and is screaming for the Dodgers.
Right, but that's how he is on a home broadcast and a national broadcast. It's pretty consistent. Now, just watch this.
Off the hands, over to third. Oh, they got Crawford caught.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, JT's in trouble now. JT is out at second base. A base running blunt.
Well, correct. I mean, why did he run? He should have just stayed there.
Let's just point out, though, that the "oh no, JT" was almost verbatim what you caught on a lip read of Kyle Schwarber at that exact moment in the dugout.
That was really rough. Sorry to the Phillies fans out there. That really sucks.
Oh, yeah, no, my wife was not happy watching that. She's from Philly, by the way.
I think we should start with a first half report card. What grade would you give the Dodgers on their first half?
I mean, I would give the Dodgers minor league squad an A+, because that's what's happening right now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stay quiet. There was a really fun moment when you guys were not playing well, and I got on TikTok and was like, do we think it's because the CBA just got announced? Conspiracy theory.
I'm just worried about what's going to happen after half our team goes to the White House, half of them don't, and then Kike Hernandez and Blake Trinan get into it in the clubhouse.
I mean, Kike's getting into it online with people. Did you see...
As he should,
he
he's
doxed
right.
a guy who sent him a letter on Instagram. Very funny.
I'm 99% sure that was an accident. By the way, my guess is he just posted a picture of the letter and didn't even think about the fact that the return address was in it.
Very funny. I hope he did it on purpose. But yeah, I am curious to see how your team plays. And if they go on like a little 5 to 10 game slide because the energy is off in the clubhouse, I won't be mad at it.
And we've got 12 to work with. It's okay.
Great. Cool. So cool. I would give the Padres a B-. I think they stress me out constantly, but somehow they pull it off. And also, like, this is not the first half, technically. This has been since the All-Star game. We lost 4 games, and we still gained a game in standings. Everyone else is just playing
the rest
terribly
of our
also.
division is a mess. Back to the Dodgers for a second. Do you think Tanner Scott is a double agent sent from San Diego to ruin us? Because I don't know if
I think you guys do this thing where you pillage people you don't like, and it bites you in the ass more often than not.
Yeah, because I don't know if you noticed that JT Realmuto's bad base running there just saved the Dodgers from a game getting blown by Tanner Scott.
He was good for us, and...
Then he had butt surgery.
That's on you guys. You know how I feel about your pitching staff. I think you guys shred arms and really fuck with people's fundamentals in a terrible, terrible way.
Yeah, I mean, then you got Kyle Tucker. He's not a pitcher. He's not doing well either.
That's rough. That was a big signing this offseason for you guys.
We can take it.
Which you didn't need to do. No one made you do that. It wasn't like you were filling a huge hole. It just, you were like, let's be evil.
You know, I was actually scratching my head at that one. There were a couple signings Tanner Scott was one of them.
I think some of your signings in the last 2 years have been because management knows there's going to be a major overhaul with this CBA, and they wanted to get contracts on the books that could not be rescinded and get money off of, like, their overall payroll in case there's a shutdown or a luxury tax or a salary cap, which is not going to happen, but that's...
Question is, how many of those guys do they then trade to other teams offering to pay some
80%.
Yeah.
80% of them.
And then just pillage the farms by paying off on the grandfathered contracts.
Exactly.
That's not a bad call.
Yeah, we'll cover 80% of the contract. You can have this person for $5 million a year.
And Andrew
But we get all 7 of your good prospects.
Yeah. Andrew Friedman, if I see you doing this, I want a consulting fee.
They're listening.
Yeah, they're definitely listening.
Okay, let's talk about the Dodgers. You just gave them an A+. Do you think injuries are starting to catch up with them? I know a few people have started to hit your IL.
I said I gave the minor league squad an A+, because the fact that we've got guys who are coming in and filling those holes, and even with some of the mistakes and attitude issues that we've been seeing in some cases, the fact that they've still managed to keep us where we are is impressive. I actually do worry about a couple of the injuries, and that is the one thing that, I mean, goes one of two ways, because the last couple of years we've kind of followed this pattern and...
Injury list manipulation?
Excuse me?
Perhaps where we keep people on the IL a little bit too long so that they're really nice, clean, and fresh and ready to go when we get to the postseason? Is that maybe what you're referring to?
I mean, if that's the way the world wants it, I don't know. I don't think they're faking injuries.
What world wants it that way? I'm not saying you're faking injuries.
Here.
I'm saying you're way too conservative with return to play. Things that would take 10 days with other teams are taking 50 days with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if other teams want to let their minor league guys...
And we all also have 20 million pitchers in our minor league depth to pull up at any time. We all also have that, that's for sure. I don't have one good pitcher.
That sounds like a you problem.
It is. It's really a me problem. It's a little bit also, I think, a Bob Manfred problem, because why is my ownership change not being approved? That got announced months ago.
Seriously?
It has not been approved yet.
What are they
so
holding
we
that
can't
up for?
Really spend at the trade. I have issues, as you know. And I think part of it is, where's my hat? Jordan made me this hat. It's a tinfoil Padres hat. I think Bob Manfred is purposely holding off on giving the ownership the A-OK, and they're going to do it after the trade deadline in the hopes that AJ Preller will not go beast mode like he normally does if he doesn't know how much money he's going to have to play with. I think it's on purpose. I think Bob Manfred hates us.
Why, though? Isn't it good for baseball to have a nice rivalry going? Especially, I mean, if the Giants have all but abdicated their place.
Bob Manfred has always done things that are against my team for seemingly no reason.
He's an idiot.
That we wanted to defer a contract for Aaron Judge. Was he going to sign with us? Probably no. But we were setting up a deferred payment for Aaron Judge, and then all of a sudden the Mets and the Dodgers are allowed to defer millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Could it have been that they were worried about your ownership change?
No, because this was before Peter Seidler died.
Oh, fair enough.
They just didn't like that he was spending. They were like, well, small markets could spend. And then Peter started doing it, and they went, not like that.
I can't speak to Rob Manfred. I don't have specifics on what happened here. I would love to see someone ask that question. Did anyone ask that question directly to him or anyone in the league?
No, I'm sure no one has asked him that question. Why would you? Who cares enough? Except for the San Diego fans. We're not in that office.
First of all, I think all 30 teams should have local media in the MLB headquarters reporting on what's going on.
That would be great.
Because
how many local media outlets actually still exist?
And that's a bigger problem. And I think that really speaks to, I think the issues we're seeing in baseball might even go beyond baseball here. It's the fact that these markets are so unequal when it comes to everything from the amount you have to spend on players to, quite frankly, the amount of money the fan bases have to spend on going to the games to the media infrastructure supporting them. I mean, you've got the Yankees and the Dodgers have their own television networks.
Well, and the Dodgers are keeping more money than any other team, which is also part of the inequity you see with like how much money the Dodgers have to spend. And also, I know I've talked about a salary cap for a long time, but you can't just implement a salary cap because then the Yankees also, but the Dodgers specifically are just going to start investing in like minor league scouting and all these then it's just going to be inequity at other levels.
Yeah, because
we can start talking about the CBA, I guess.
Yeah, because the Mets are spending more than the Dodgers. They're not spending it particularly well, and they're kind of embarrassing themselves. And ultimately, I think the issue comes down to if you implement a salary cap, all you're doing is you're benefiting small market owners who don't want to spend and want to use their teams as, quite frankly, generational wealth vessels to keep family fortunes tied up.
I think a cap is potentially a good call, but I think there's so many more things and levers we could pull before we get to a cap and a floor that would do more for equity. For example, I think we need to end deferred payments. Like, point blank, number one, I know we just talked about how I wanted to do it with Aaron Judge, and I say that as a joke. Aaron Judge was never going to sign with us, and I don't pretend to know how the Padres leadership comes to contract valuations. That's none of my business. But I do think not paying Shohei Ohtani $2 million a year right now and making the Dodgers actually, like, put their money where their mouth is right now, same with Juan Soto, would do a lot for competitive balancing. Like, okay, you want to pay someone $750 million over the course of 7 years? Pay them. Also, what's interesting about the CBA is these changes would not be retroactive, obviously.
Yeah.
But Shohei is probably, I think, the only player in the game who would go, you can restructure my contract. I think he would volunteer for it. If it would mean that the league would not insist on a salary cap, Shohei would do it.
You know, you're probably not wrong. The question is, would his agent let him do it? Because, let's be clear, the real problems here are the agents. In everything, by the way.
But also, these agents would get more money down the line. If Shohei restructures, they can make more money off of their 10% fee per year for all these other people who are coming up.
If I'm an agent, if I'm Scott Boras, I'm thinking to myself, and I don't know who represents Ohtani, but I'm thinking to myself, I've got guaranteed money that's coming in 10 years from now that I don't have to do anything. If you
can't make 15% of $750 million work when it comes into you today, that's an investment problem, and you need better financial advisors.
What if
that, like, there are 3 contracts where this is an issue.
Okay, but say you're Ohtani's agent and you're about 5 to 10 years from wanting to retire, you can just make Ohtani's deferred payments your retirement plan.
Put it in the market.
Okay, any of these people.
You're telling me you're looking at, like, what is that? $75 million? 10% of $750 million? $75 million?
I love that you're actually following me down this ridiculous rabbit hole.
I understand what you're saying about the agents actually being the one, but I think I don't know who Ohtani's agent is. That's none of my business. I really don't follow agents that way. If they can't make that money coming in today work versus 30 years from now, that's a skill issue. You need better financial advisors. And also, if Shohei will make that, and I'm not saying he would, I just think he's the only player who I would maybe consider restructuring their payments to, like, make the league at large feel like it's fair, to prevent salary caps for the rest of their players, to, like, when we signed Jackson Merrill to his contract extension and the Players Association was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, he came up in press conference and was like, I know I could have made more money if I had asked for more money if I'd gone somewhere else. I want the Padres to spend money so we have good guys on the field around me. I think that's how Shohei feels.
Will Smith did the same thing.
Yeah, but Will Smith is not worth $750 million.
I mean, I'd say Will Smith's worth probably about what Jackson Merrill's worth.
Fair, but Will Smith is towards the end of his career and Jackson is year 2.
I don't think Will Smith's quite towards the end of his career yet. He's later on than
middle-aged.
Jackson. He's
middle-aged for a baseball player?
Yeah. He's not,
he wasn't year 2.
Yeah, no, but I mean, the whole reason for, and I think we talked about this offline, the whole reason for Dalton Rushing's attitude problem is that he knows Will Smith isn't going anywhere.
Dalton Rushing still being allowed to play, the fact that there is a new Dalton Rushing issue every 2 weeks is crazy. DFA him, send him back to the minors, and, like, fix his attitude problem.
There's a minor league catcher who's now a second backup catcher who's starting to get his reps in. It's not long now. I saw someone pinch running. I was like, who is this guy? And then I saw a little C next to his name. And I'm like, oh, that's what's going on here.
It's actually, and I think probably the first 1 or 2 Dalton Rushing incidents were overblown, and people were like, we love to hate on the Dodgers. Ooh, some guy in a Dodgers uniform's, like, throwing a hissy fit. And, like, he's young, whatever. It's his first time on the big stage with the bright lights. You can't... There's been, like, 7 different Dalton Rushing scandals.
Yeah. Also, Dodgers Twitter's not having it with him. Like, this isn't outside criticism only. This is nobody.
And I can only imagine, like, Shohei likes everybody. I saw some crazy videos of him not messing with Dalton Rushing.
I was just gonna say he got into it with Shohei. And
to get into it with listen, I'm never going to defend Shohei. I hate that he's playing for the Dodgers. But very respectful, honorable man, very, by all accounts, good teammate. Mm-hmm. To get into it with Shohei is crazy.
There are 4 guys on the Dodgers that I would say if you're getting into it with, you're wrong. Shohei, Yamamoto, Freddie, Mookie.
Correct. Will Klein. I'll throw him in there just because I like Will Klein.
I mean, unfortunately, from everything I know about Will Klein, absolutely love the guy. He seems incredible. That being said, though, and not a knock on him because I 100% agree with him, but if you put Will Klein in this category, you also put Kike in this category. But unfortunately...
Oh, well, Kike's a little bit of a hothead. Kike's sometimes doing things just for the bit.
Yeah. Will Klein is a true Twitter shit poster. And I love it for him. But
yes.
Could... there is an argument...
I just haven't seen anything... Maybe I'm not paying close enough attention because I super am not, but I haven't seen anything about him negative ever.
Right. All I'm saying is that someone could reasonably say, I like the guy, but I disagree with his politics, versus the top 4 that I mentioned just now are completely
I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about purely, if you're fighting with this guy in the dugout, whatever you've said is incorrect. I don't think any of those guys are talking about politics in the dugout.
That's actually a really good point, yeah.
Why would you? Why would they?
Sorry, for anyone who doesn't realize, my main day job is that I'm a political consultant, so that is where my head goes, and... Yeah, you're probably right, but...
Yeah, when I tune politics off when I look at baseball. I don't want to know their politics because I know it'll make me sad.
Yeah.
I know it'll make me real upset.
Except Kike. And Will Klein.
And Francisco Lindor. Totally different team.
Oh, I've not followed Lindor's politics.
Got a winning smile and a great attitude.
Good.
And potentially up for trade if trade rumors are to be believed. The Mets are willing to sell anybody. So maybe Francisco Lindor, you are a Dodger. Yeah. Who's to say?
I was just going to say he's probably not going to have a chance to prove whether or not he'd go to the White House in the Trump admin, but if he ends up on the Dodgers, maybe.
Great. Thank you, Jordan. I hope the baseball gods smite you for that.
That was a joke. Okay, can we be obvious? I don't think we should trade for Lindor. That was a joke. I'm just...
Who do you think you should trade for? What trade rumors are you hearing, percolate for the Dodgers, and what pieces do you think the Dodgers are even missing and need to move people for?
I think we need to focus more on filling utility holes and making sure we've got the best bench than anything else. I don't think we need to be trading for more star power here. If anything, maybe 1 or 2 bullpen arms. Nothing crazy, though. Someone who can eat up innings. Someone who can get you, a good middle reliever. I don't think we need...
Do you think the Dodgers are calling about Mason?
I don't think we're...
He's not... if he goes anywhere, it's not the Dodgers. But do you think they're calling to see, what it would take?
I don't know. Probably. I'm sure they're making every phone call, and even if they're not serious about it, I also think when you said something about the Dodgers making moves just to make moves, I don't think it's so much about showing off as it is about blocking competitors from making the moves that would threaten the Dodgers. It's not so much about the Dodgers need this guy, it's that we want to make sure that nobody else has him.
Who do you see as your biggest threat in the NL and then in the AL if you get that?
NL. I hate to say that our biggest threat is and always has been ourselves.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And this has always been true, even going back to, I'd say the last time that we weren't our own enemy was 2018, when the Dodgers and the Red Sox played an incredible series, and they were just in every way the better team. But since, that 20...
the Yankees World Series, that run, you guys were not getting in your own way. I think last year... you were not clearly the better team with the Jays.
The Blue Jays could have beat us 100%. That being said, though, I don't think they're going to be able to recreate what they did.
No, they're unless they have a really crazy second half. I think
they also lost Mattingly.
Yeah, I think the Brewers are huge competition, and they have been for the last 5 or so years, and they keep almost getting there. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to go huge in this trade deadline.
No, but I truly, and I mean, I'm not trying to be arrogant here, and I say this with the utmost humility because I've watched my team blow the best team in the league over and over again before we got to winning 2 back-to-back. I mean, 2017, they got cheated, but other than that, like, all growing up,
I love, by the way, that you skipped right over 2020. You said we're going to go 2017. That was the last time, and then we're just going to talk about the 2020, not real.
2020 was, it was fun to watch. You're right, it didn't feel like watching baseball because it was COVID and like everything was kind of a blur.
Wasn't it 60 games?
Okay, let me ask you this. 2020 not real, fine. If we have a lockout that goes through July or August 2027 and the Padres win the World Series, is that a real ring?
How many games is that? 60?
Fine. Let's just say 60. Let's call it the same. Let's call it the same. I don't care.
A clean 60 games?
Yeah, clean even 60 games.
Oh no. Is it a Mickey Mouse ring? Yes. Will I be at the parade screaming my head off? Yes. Okay. Will I then need the Padres to go out and do the same thing in a non-abbreviated season? In much in the same way that, like, my issue with 60% of Dodgers fans is that there's this weird chip on your shoulder from getting cheated by the Astros, then for winning 2020 and feeling like you're like, well, we did it. Finally, we did it. And people not respecting that as a real win because it was a Mickey Mouse ring. And then being so offended by that. There was like this weird, like, no, we're that. Like, just this.
Think about
and now, and so in the last 2 years, it's like, great, yes, you proved it. No one can talk about, like, because if you had won the Mickey Mouse ring and then not won again for 20 years, it would have been like, okay, guys, that was because it was a COVID abbreviated season. But because you won back to back, but there's still this weird energy from a lot of Dodgers fans online where they're like, you have to respect me. And I'm like, I don't like your team. I don't have to give you any props if I don't want to. And it makes some of your fans livid.
Let's just galaxy brain this for a second, though, because I actually have thought a lot about this, and I think it has to do with, the general, and I've had this conversation in so many different, completely unrelated conversations about the way that 2020 just broke everyone's brains and none of us have recovered from COVID. Mm-hmm. And I think in this instance, you think about the timing of all of this. The news of the Astros scandal, which we got cheated in 2017, we didn't find out about it until the off-season going into the 2020 season. 2020 for Dodgers fans starts, Kobe Bryant dies in a helicopter crash. Dodgers find out they were cheated out of the World Series. Then the world shuts down, and everyone just goes insane. And I don't want to get into COVID psychology, but we can just admit that everyone went crazy. Nobody was sane. Nobody was rational. We were all saying the most ridiculous things. We were Lysol wiping our groceries. Then we come back to baseball, but it doesn't feel like real baseball. Even when we were watching it, nothing felt.
No.
It didn't.
You had the cardboard cutouts of the fans in the stadium.
So stupid.
So many of those pitchers, by the way, who debuted in 2020 never came back because they just pitched terribly, and they didn't have the stats to back up bringing them back up.
Yeah, and then a bunch of, for the World Series and playoff run itself, when they kind of sequestered at Texas Stadium, like my college roommates who happen to live in Houston went to those games because they sold like limited tickets to have a couple fans in there. And that to find out you were cheated and then to win and then for it to not feel real. And I don't think it was so much about everyone calling it a Mickey Mouse ring as I think the energy came from, like you said, you'll know it's different, but you'll go to the parade. What parade was there in 2021?
Yeah, but that doesn't explain, like, the vitriol. People, like, listen, I get it. I hang the banner and it's, you haven't won the division in how long? I get it. And, like, I understand that if we win in an abbreviated 2027 season, depending on how abbreviated it is, like, it will be the same thing where it's like, well, that's not a real ring. And it's like, totally. And I'm going to celebrate it. And then also, we need to go do it within 5 years. Otherwise, this is like, you didn't really win anything. I'm so sorry.
Is 2017 a real ring?
Yes, because other people were cheating, and I've told you this many times. The reason that the Astros did not get that ring stripped from them is that when MLB went and looked around, everyone was doing a version of that. And they couldn't punish everyone and make an example out of the Astros if everyone else was doing it, so it was a slap on the wrist.
I actually do believe that is the only reason that they may have been punished so lightly.
If you went and did actual research and found that the Astros were the only team cheating at that level, to that capacity, yeah, you strip them of their ring, but then also, like, you're not, because then it's, well, it should have been the Yankees, and then we would have had, you know what I mean? And then, so then it's still not a true win, I mean, even if you strip the ring and give it to the Dodgers.
Except we relitigated what the 2017 World Series should have been in 2024.
No, you didn't. You did not.
Yankees,
that is not the same team that is not the same team in the slightest.
Fine.
You can't go 8 years later, we're relitigating this. Like, it's not the same team.
Okay. That being said, I do hear your argument that the Astros were not punished for being the only team to cheat. They were punished for cheating so badly.
So flagrantly. Yes.
So flagrantly that not only did everyone else start looking into all the other teams, but they quite literally put John Boy Media on the map.
Yeah. That was the big John Boy lip reading breakdown, right?
It was the trash cans. They went and found all.
Oh, it wasn't even lip reading. You're right. They went and they found all the footage. Yes, that is, and good for them for saying, "Here's what happened."
That scandal probably did more to change baseball media than anything in the last 10 years.
I think it hit at just the right time. Mm-hmm. Like, we were always going to move towards the influencer creator economy, you see, because that's what media at large is doing. But I think that scandal opened and paved the way for a lot of the big, John Boy, but a lot of the other big creators as well. Like that and COVID, right? You look at all of these creators who've come up on TikTok.
That COVID and socials. Baseball for Baddies.
Shout out Kate Maniscalco.
Okay, did you see, I forget which Reds player saw her in a media line, was like, wait, are you Baseball for Baddies? My girlfriend loves you.
So good. I love her because I understand exactly the impetus for her was like, she was sitting at a game with her friends and they're like, so what are all these scoreboard things mean? And I've been there a million times, like sitting over the bullpen and they're like, so what is a bullpen actually? And you're like, okay, so let's walk through all the basics. And I love it. I'm obsessed with it. And more girls are into baseball now. So
also,
hell yeah.
Does she take betting money? I've noticed all the other ones do. Does she take betting money?
I think she does. I think she has a sponsorship with DraftKings.
I was going to say we need one who doesn't, but I'm pretty sure that ecosystem is the only thing propping up this entire influencer market.
I mean, it's on MLB proper. We have stat lines going during games.
It needs to fucking stop.
Adrian Morahone's wife was in Vegas, and she posted, like, her Instagram caption was like, stop gambling, and if you lose, stop DMing me, or something like that. It was like a very funny, like, anti-gambling. I loved it. But yeah, stop TMing players and players' families.
I'm still
Listen,
not over...
I'll throw $10 on a bet every now and then for fun. Like, I'm here for a good time also, but like parlays and getting mad when a player does or does not. Like, baseball, in my mind, is the hardest game to play. You're hitting a ball this big with a stick, and the ball's coming at you 95 to 100 miles an hour. It's such a difficult game where if you're good 30% of the time. That's if you're so good if you can hit the ball 30% of the time.
I mean, now that with these parlays too, it's like, it's one thing, I mean, Pete Rose was a scandal because those simple bets were whether or not you win or lose. Those were big things.
He was betting on his team to win, though, which I think is a huge difference that we still don't...
No, I agree. That being said, even that was considered worse than what is now happening, which is where...
So bad that he was given a lifetime ban from the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Where Emmanuel Clase was taking money to throw individual pitches certain ways because you can place bets on individual events
and what Dodger was it who swung at such a bad pitch that we got this discovered? What Dodger was that?
Funny enough, Andy Pages, who I don't know what the fuck clicked in his head, but he's now one of our best hitters.
Any other notes on the CBA? I know that's starting to heat up. The players at the All-Star game were getting a little bit feisty when asked about it.
I mean, the players aren't going to comment. At the end of the day, this is a union negotiation.
The players were commenting. The players were giving some pretty feisty comments.
Yeah, they'll ratchet things up, but they're not going to talk about the specific details and anything they are saying, too. Imagine that anything they're saying is cleared by the union. They're not just running their mouths. I guarantee you the Players Association has a bargaining team going together, and they've picked which players are going to be strategically funny and snarky about the CBA on screen. Because you have to be very careful which ones it is, too. You can't have it be the ones that are getting too rich.
What's it, Bellinger, who was like, these billionaires, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, first of all, some players on your team are almost billionaires off of their contracts. So let's not get too crazy about that. And also, I understand I am closer to Cody Bellinger than Cody Bellinger is to a billionaire team owner, but you can't go class warfare when you're making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Cody Bellinger, though, is case in point for the exact kind of player who would be squeezed by a salary cap, because he's a former MVP who had one great season, but he's been above average, but unfortunately on a team full of MVPs, we couldn't pay all of them.
That's the point, is that all of these players stop being consolidated into 3 teams and we get a Cody Bellinger on, I don't know, the Marlins?
Except he ended up on the Yankees.
Right, but in this instance, who are the Yankees paying?
Okay, but are the Marlins actually going to pay Cody Bellinger what he's worth?
Well, I think there's a lot more that needs to be done than just a cap and a floor. I think the luxury tax needs to be reworked immensely. I think you need to start punishing owners for not spending a certain amount of money proportional to revenue.
Yeah.
There has to be enforcement, and that's my issue. I'm not against a salary cap. I'm actually probably more pro salary cap than most people, but it's not a Band-Aid. It's one of many levers, and those have to be pulled in the correct order in tandem.
Also, if you want to talk about Evil Empire, by the way, I'm just going to point out one story that I don't think has been covered enough. Why don't you just go on your computer real quick, pull up a browser tab, and find me the roster for the 2017 Miami Marlins, or Florida Marlins at the time. Get me that roster and read it out for me, please.
JT Realmuto, Justin Bauer, D. Strange Gordon, Miguel Rojas, Derek Dietrich, Marcelo Ozuna, Christian Yelich, Giancarlo Stanton are the 1 through 8 players there.
Yeah. Who owned that team? I don't know. Captain of the Evil Empire, Derek Jeter, who then stripped him for parts and sent all the good ones to the Yankees.
Suzuki was on the 2017 Marlins? Sorry, I'm reading more and more into
No, that team was insane.
Well, yeah,
I
think there's
insane.
Yes, and I think there are issues with that too. I think did you hear about the free agency cap essentially? So it restricts how many years you can sign with a team if you're moving teams versus if you're a homegrown talent. So it's something like 5 years.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Is the maximum contract versus 6 or 7 if you're homegrown talent. I think that would be helpful. I think incentivizing teams to keep their homegrown players and not just trade them away would be great. I think luxury tax needs to be reworked. I think we need to start penalizing teams, not just giving teams money that they don't then have to actually reinvest back into their roster in any particular way. I'm also kind of the opinion, this is an idea I've seen floated a few times, if you are not in the postseason 10 years in a row, you get put on a 3-year probation, and if you can't turn it around, you have a forced sale. I think we need to start implementing forced sale. I don't know what those exact terms, timelines.
What if we just start sending teams to the minors like they do in the Premier League?
That's very funny. Just get demoted.
Yeah, just send the Marlins and the Rockies to AAA.
I don't think you can do that because then who comes up? And then, it's someone else's farm system, but something to that effect.
Cut the league to 25 teams, send 4 of them down.
Jordan said no expansion, actually make the league smaller.
Yeah, but then you get people actually interested in minor league baseball. Break the clubs up so that all the farm systems, because these farm systems are monopolies, essentially. Imagine how much different it would be if the major league clubs also had to trade and acquire their players from the minor league clubs.
That fundamentally breaks so much of baseball. How do you DFA people? What do you do when you have an injured player? How do you have reserve players for injuries? I don't think it works in
Let's
baseball.
Be clear, I had never thought of this until I just said it.
You're this is a fresh new idea. No, but something to that effect, I think a forced sale and making owners care about their team as a product and not, to your point earlier, just like an investment venture for generational wealth building, is the only way to incentivize owners to actually spend money. Unless you get lucky like the Padres did and get an ownership group who's like, I'm here to spend money, I'm here to make the team win, we want a ring. You do just have 20 or so owners who own teams, have no interest in changing anything about how they're structuring their teams, and don't care if they lose or not. And they're going to keep jacking up ballpark hot dog rates, beer rates.
Or you find owners and management teams that actually know how to capitalize and maximize the value of their media franchises. Because, I mean, the Dodgers are starting on the right track, and, I mean, yes, it's easier with a bigger audience, but any team can build a media property out of what they have, and they can do it differently. I mean, how funny would a little sitcom about the Rockies be?
Yes, but the Dodgers get to keep all of their media money, which is not...
Right, but if the Rockies produced a sitcom about how hard knock life it was up there, they'd get to keep all the money from that.
Would they? I'd have to read into their contracts. I don't know what that actual, rev pooling looks like on media contracts. I just know the Dodgers, because of the McCord era bankruptcy, got a crazy exception that has led to the absolute absurd level of wealth you guys have right now.
Yeah, and I think that part of this CBA negotiation needs to be a reimagining of what the licensing, branding, and logo rights look like, given the fact that the fundamental mechanisms by which we value intellectual property have changed so drastically in the last 10 years. And I think that's the more pressing conversation than a salary cap.
Again, I think a lot of these things need to occur in tandem, but I think there are, as I said, many, many levers we could pull now, and we could push a salary cap 3 more years. Because, players are not going to agree to it unless there's literally nothing else we can do. And if management of MLB has said we've tried 20 different things and there's still not some level of parity, and I'm not saying there needs to be extreme equality. There always are going to be good teams and bad teams. That's just how it happens, and people peak at different times and whatnot. But we can't have all the star players consolidated on 2-3 teams anymore. It actually is not okay.
Meh.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Jordan. I'll follow up with you in 10 years when you're no longer the star team. And
you mean when our ability to be the star team has been stripped away by regulation because nobody can compete on the merits?
No, when you all of a sudden have billions and billions of dollars coming out of your coffers every year because you've overextended. I think that's also part of the plan.
That money's also already in escrow. That's how the deferred contracts work. It's getting invested, and it's not like they're going to have to pay that out.
And what happens if we have a market crash? What happens if we have a market crash and then you have a huge contract come due?
That's going to be an
what happens then?
Question.
What happens when there's another 2008 financial crisis and you owe Shohei Ohtani $300 million that year?
Then the league's either going to have to restructure things and bail us out, or
that's what I thought. Let's end deferred payments. That's my run for commissioner.
Sydney for commissioner.
All right. Any last commentary on the Dodgers or the Padres from this first week back from All-Star break?
We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Thanks for talking with me, Jordan. Yeah. We'll see you guys next week, 2 weeks from now. Mm-hmm. Who's to say?
Who knows in this world?